Sitting up lovely and tall, feeling whatever's connecting with the ground on the ground, lengthening your spine nice and tall up towards the ceiling, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and just starting to awaken the body by letting the breath massage you from the inside. So following the breath internally all the way down to your seat. And then as you exhale, lengthening the breath all the way up your spine, round the back of your throat, and out through your nose. Continue breathing in this way, your own time, your own pace. Becoming really curious about the breath today. The breath is the vehicle that links us in yoga. The movement to the body, to the spirit, or the mind. As we were just mentioning before, there's a lot of people passing at the moment, and it just brings awareness to how important our breath is. Because it's the one thing that we actually can't live without for very long at all, maybe more than a few minutes. We can live without food for maybe a month, without water for maybe a week. But we really need the breath to stay alive. So as we practice with the breath today, showing gratitude towards the breath, showing kindness and compassion to where we are in our practice, being comfortable with where we are and letting it be enough. As we take one more inhale together, exhaling, letting the breath leave the body. And then slowly blinking open the eyes. And just round our shoulders up towards our ears. And exhale, lowering them down. One more circle like that. Shoulders up to the ears. All the way down. And then let's revisit that the other way. Shoulders rounding to the back, up to the ears. One more shoulder roll like that. Find the fingers together and exhale, rounding our back up towards the back. Palms reaching to the front. Thinking about engaging the belly towards the spine. Trying to extend your back towards your window behind you, chin to chest. And then inhale, opening up, reaching the palms up towards the ceiling, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. And then leaning over to the right, but putting the weight into your left hip, stretching out through the side body. And then inhale, coming back up, reaching over the other way. So there's a shift in the hips to the right as the arms reach to the left. And inhale, coming up. Letting go of the hands, just giving the wrists a couple of rolls either way. And then coming onto all fours. So hands under shoulders. Knees under hips. Now inhale to drop the belly to the mat, curling the hips up towards the ceiling, opening the chest forward, and then exhale, rounding up the other way. Trying to carry the breath through the whole movement. Doing 2 more in your own time and your own space as you get to the top of the movement, squeezing that last little bit of breath out. 1 more. Cow pose and rounding up for cat pose. So still in all fours, just tucking the toes so that all 5 toes on each foot are on the ground, and then coming back to sit on your heels. And from there, again, we'll round our palms forward, lift our arms up towards the ceiling, letting the arms float apart, coming down to the mat. Inhaling again, binding the hands, pushing them away from you. Inhale, reaching up, palms towards the ceiling, letting the fingers float apart. Big circles down towards the mat. And 1 more. Reaching the hands away, up, maybe a little bit of a back bend this time. And then floating the hands apart, coming into your cactus with your arms. So squeezing the elbows together as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Shoulders down from the ears. And then exhaling, right arm under left. If your toes are agony and you can't be on them anymore, you can flatten your feet out or just have a rest and come back into it. And then we'll exhale, elbows into the belly button. Inhale up, opening through the heart. Exhaling, rounding in. Floating the arms apart into your T, crossing over the other way. We'll inhale to lift up. Exhale, leaning over to the right. Inhale up, lifting the arms, leaning over to the left. And then separating the hands, coming back into your all fours. So you can release the toes any way that feels good for you. And then we're going to bring the hands under the shoulders, lifting ourselves up into our downward facing dog. Bending one knee, then the other. And think about your hips curling up towards the ceiling. Slight tilt in the hips. Belly towards the spine, reaching yourself away from your hands. Become light in your hands. And think about your back thighs pointing towards the windows. Definitely keeping a bit of a bend in the knees. And then from there, we're going to float forward into our plank. So rounding through the upper back as we do. Zipping up through the inner chain of the legs, making sure the hips aren't piking. Remembering to keep your neck an extension of the spine without tensing it. Exhale towards the mat with elbows into the ribs and then push back up again into your plank. If you need to have your mat, that's absolutely fine. Now let's go again. Half push up, squeezing the elbows into the ribs, exhaling, pushing up again. 1 more. Elbow into ribs. Remember the neck's an extension of the spine. Nice long line. Yes. Exhale, pushing up. Excellent. Piking the hips. Downward facing dog. Pedaling one leg, then the other. Maybe swaying the hips from side to side. And then finding stillness in your downward facing dog. Seeing if there's a little more space on the exhale, tilting those sit bones towards the ceiling, reaching out of your hands. And then looking forward, coming onto your tippy toes, little miniature steps towards the top of the mat, towards your hands. When you get there, inhaling to halfway lift. So you can bring your hands to your shins or fingertips to the mat or to a block. Exhaling to fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Think about that little tilt of the hips again, as if you're trying to curl the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Start to heel toe the feet so that they're hip distance apart. And then left hand under your face. Big bend into the left knee. Right arm opens up to the ceiling. Maybe think about leaning that right arm back a little bit today. Lifting out of your hand that's on the mat. And exhale, coming over to the other way. Right hand down. Bending into the right knee. Left arm up. Think about the left arm and the right arm being in one line and opening your chest towards the side of the room. Very nice. Exhaling, left hand down, right arm up, opening that arm behind you, opening through the chest, nice chest stretch. And other side. Right hand down, left arm up, opening up. Both hands to the mat, big bend in the knees, starting to curl yourself up to standing. Chin to chest, chin comes up last. Sweeping your arms out towards the sides and up overhead, fingertips lightly touch, and then bring your hands to heart center. Gazing forward, connecting the thumbs to the heart, feeling the weight evenly through the feet. Slight engagement of the knees up towards the quads. Slight contraction of the pelvic floor. And then just letting the shoulders float down from the ears. Just noticing the body here into Tadasana, mountain pose. Notice the energy. One more breath. As you exhale, blinking open the eyes. Bending the knees, sweeping the arms up and overhead, letting them touch. Exhale, bending down into your forward fold. We'll do 2 sun salutations. Inhale to halfway lift. Planting the hands, right foot back, left foot back, half push up. Upward facing dog or cobra if you prefer. Only the tops of the feet and the palms on the mat if you're an upward facing dog. Pulling yourself up by the hips, downward facing dog. Finding your full expression here in your down dog. And then starting to tiptoe your feet up towards the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bending the knees, rising up. Palms touch overhead. Hands back through heart center. All the way back down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, left foot steps back. Right foot steps back, half push up onto the tops of your toes, feet, opening up into your upward dog, rounding up by pulling the hips up and then coming over the toes, downward facing dog. Take one breath here, exhale. Start to tiptoe to the middle of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bending the knees. Inhale up into your chair pose. Left arm forward, right arm back. You can keep big toes touching in this one, heels slightly apart. Squeezing the knees together. opening your chest to the side of the room. And then inhale back to center, reaching up. Exhaling, twisting to the other side. So make sure that your right hip isn't swinging out. Yes, nice. Inhale, coming back up. Standing up to Tadasana. Taking a breath here. Letting it float out through the mouth. From there, we'll bring the weight to the left foot. Inhale the right knee up to the chest. Flexing the right foot. Standing up nice and tall through the left leg. From here, left hand to hip, peace fingers around the big toe, or if you prefer, you can bring both hands under the thigh. Just notice what gives you the better stretch. So either variation, extending the leg in front of you, growing tall, rising out of the standing leg. Right shoulder back and down. Maybe left arm floats up to the ceiling or out to the side. And then wherever you are, we're going to move the right leg out towards the right. Finding balance, softening the gaze. Sometimes balance is hard. From there, we're going to come into our tree pose. So right foot into the left leg, wherever the tree pose is. Engaging the left thigh and pushing the right foot into the left thigh for balance. Arms out to the side, like tree branches. And then exhaling, coming back to standing and back into chair pose. Lifting the arms up, hands to chest, turning left elbow to the outside of the right knee, pushing the palms together, rotating towards the right side of your mat. Taking a breath here, and then looking down onto the balls of the left foot, maybe extending the left leg behind you for a twisted warrior three. Taking a couple of breaths here in your warrior three. Nice. Beautiful. And when you're ready, coming back to your twisted chair. Very nice. Maybe sitting a little bit deeper, swinging those right hips back into the center. Nice. And then exhaling, forward fold. Letting the head drop. Think about the tilt of the hips up towards the ceiling. So notice it's a recurrence in a lot of shapes that we do. So it's as if we're trying to bring out the bottom of our sit bones right up towards the ceiling, pulling the belly into the spine. And then bending the knees, coming back up to standing, through to Tadasana. Taking a breath here, finding stillness. And we're going to come over to the other side. So weight into the right foot, toes of the left foot. Squeezing the left knee to the chest. I'm noticing I'm really struggling with balance today. So some days balance is just for other people, no judgment. Squeezing the left knee into the chest, growing tall out of the standing leg. And then from there, choosing your variation, you can keep your hands underneath your thigh. That gives you a better stretch or feels more secure for you. Or you can bind, peace grip the big toe, and then extend the leg out. Either variation. Maybe the right arm comes out to the right. Taking a breath here, opening out to the left. Noticing if balance is different on one side to the other. No judgment. Some days it's just like that. Very nice. And then bending your foot towards your right thigh for your tree pose. Taking a breath here. Maybe your arms come out to the side. Maybe you wave your trees, your arms like branches. Challenging the balance. And then exhaling back into a standing position. Sorry, Coco. Hands to heart center. Inhale, sweeping up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, reaching back. Hands back into heart center, coming into your chair. So big toes together. Heels apart for this variation. And then we'll inhale our arms up. Exhale, right arm outside, left leg. Pushing the palms together to twist the body. Open to the left side. Taking a breath here. And then look down. And start to bring your right leg behind you for your warrior three. Flexing the right foot, engaging the leg. And exhale, back to chair, sweeping your arms up, coming back into Tadasana, stepping your feet to the width of the mat. And then we're going to bring ourselves down into our yogic squat. But think about lifting yourself out of the squat so your triceps are against your inner knees pressing in, growing your back tall. 2 breaths here. And then gently starting to lower our seat towards the mat into Navasana. So any variation can have the hands, the help of the hands. Think about extending that lower back rather than rounding it. We want to be sitting up tall. And then any variation you want, engaging the belly. Maybe reaching the arms away. Taking 2 breaths here. Think about bringing yourself into a tight V between your thighs and your tummy. And then exhale, slowly start to lower yourself down into low boat. Squeezing your belly towards the mat. Relaxing the neck. Inhale back to Navasana. Exhale, low boat. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Floating yourself down. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Hands and head come to the mat. Taking a breath here. Letting it go. Walking your feet underneath your knees, getting ready for bridge pose. But before we come into bridge, lift up your hips and then just start to sway your hips one side to the other in your bridge pose. And just notice if that gives a little bit of space in the lower back. And then when you're ready, finding your bridge. So pushing through the feet, squeezing through the glutes, feeling yourself lift onto your shoulders, squeezing the hips a little bit more. And then take 2 breaths here. You can clasp the hands underneath the lower back if that feels good, and shuffle your shoulders together. And notice if that gives you a little bit more space in the hips. Moving the chin away from the chest. The chest moves to the chin rather than the chin moving to the chest. And let's take 3 breaths here. Remembering to actively squeeze your glutes. Separating the hands if you've got them bound. Slowly rolling down to the mat, 1 vertebra at a time. And then bringing the knees to touch. The feet are wide. Knees just touching together. Bringing your arms out to a T. And just letting the knees fall over to the left. Gaze over the right arm. Letting the knees land wherever they are comfortable. No forcing. There's nowhere they need to be. And just resting in this shape. Relaxing the belly. Maybe feel your right shoulder on the mat. 1 more breath there. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhaling over to the other side. Maybe it feels different, one way, one side to the other. Perfectly normal. Think about softening both shoulders to the mat. Think about softening into the belly. If there's any tightness in the lower belly, just breathing into it. Letting the breath unravel any tightness there. And leaving anything that needs to be left on the mat. Inhale, calming back up to center. Squeezing the knees in towards the chest. Slight rock side to side on your back. And then as you exhale, slowly letting your feet lengthen down the mat. Feet stay out to the side. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Taking an inhale. Exhale to release the breath, release the practice. Welcome some rest into your body and your mind. Shavasana. Relaxing the jaw and neck. Everything. As I'm listening to the thunder passing over this area, it reminds me that no storm lasts forever. Storm clouds come, storms come, create some turbulence, and then they go, leaving a fresh, sparkling new earth behind them. Just like difficult emotions that we can't ignore, they rise up, take us over for a while. But we always know no storm lasts forever. And when they pass, we're new and fresh again. On the next inhale, slowly starting to bring movement to the fingers and the toes. Reaching the arms up overhead, stretching the legs down the mat. And as you exhale, rolling over onto one side. Just taking a moment to scan the body. Noticing what's changed, what feels different. And then on the next exhale, bringing yourself up to a sit. As we inhale to sit up tall, arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhaling into our heart center. Big inhale. Exhale to close the practice, bringing the forehead towards the heart. In gratitude for this time that we're able to give to ourselves and to practice together. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, that was lovely.